All right, week 11, college football breakdown here. Interesting battle Saturday afternoon in the ACC. We got Louisville, 4 straight wins. Struggled early in the year, but Louisville's playing their best ball of the year right now, traveling to Death Valley, taking on Clemson, who obviously got thrashed last week at Notre Dame. Still, though, Clemson a 7-point favorite at home. Somewhat standard total here at 52. I was on Clemson last week minus the 3.5, and I went 6-2 last week. It was a great week, and that was really the one game where it's just I never had a chance. It's kind of been a theme. I've had a lot of action on Clemson games this year. Played a lot of Clemson unders. That's worked out pretty well. From a side perspective, I haven't had a great feel on Clemson this year. And in this spot, though, at home, I will say from a line value standpoint, you're getting a pretty favorable line here at a touchdown. I know Louisville is playing their best football of the year. Let's not forget, though, they have laid some absolute clunkers on the road this year. Lost by 24 at Syracuse. That loss has aged poorly. They lost to Boston College outright as 13.5-point favorites. Boston College is a joke of a football team. Me, you, and your grandma could line up in a 3-down line against that offensive line and whip their ass. So that's a pretty big indictment for this Louisville team. 3 of these last 4 games have been at home. I'm not willing to just concede that they're going to come into this matchup and be able to hang toe-to-toe with Clemson. The one thing I'll say about Clemson, though, is there's real reason to worry about this offense. DJ Uiagalelei has really started to regress here these last few weeks. He got benched against Syracuse. Turnovers became an issue in that game. He was quite frankly just ineffective last week against Notre Dame. 27 of 39 on the surface doesn't look bad, but 191 yards. That's less than 5 yards per attempt. That is ineffective quarterback play. And maybe that's not all on him. Obviously, first-year offensive coordinator. Whatever the case may be, I don't like this passing game. I mean, he's just a tick above 7 yards per attempt this year. Wouldn't really call that very explosive. That's pretty mediocre, to say the least. And while Notre Dame has a good pass rush, 4 sacks last week in that matchup is quite disappointing from an offensive line that I was ready to label as good. The key matchup to watch in this game is that Clemson offensive line, because Louisville's strength defensively is coming off the edge, is getting pressure on the quarterback. I will say, if Clemson can protect DJ, give him time, and give just those slower developing plays time to develop, I do think this Louisville secondary is pretty beatable. Their defense has looked good over the last month, but I'm going to say it. We can't forget what Syracuse did through the air against this team, what Boston College did through the air against this team. It's concerning. For as much as I have concerns about Clemson offensively, schematically, the way they're coached, etc., I don't really worry about the defense. I think maybe it's time to just label that Notre Dame is starting to run the ball really well. And then we saw that last week, but being back at home, facing a team that's not as physical as Notre Dame, I think Clemson's going to fare fine in the run game. I didn't downgrade them in that department as maybe others did just off of last week alone. This game is going to fall on the arm and legs of quarterback Malik Cunningham for Louisville. He's been around for a long time. He's had a lot of success at Louisville. He's regressed a little bit as a passer this year. He's under 8 yards per attempt, whereas last year and in years past, he was closer to 8.5, 9. He's a freak with his legs, and that's one of those elements, the quarterback run, that can really kind of flip a game on its head. It's hard to handicap. It's hard to account for. That's going to be something that Clemson's going to have to stop. Ultimately, though, do think they went up front, do think they stopped the run, and probably do put Louisville into some uncomfortable, obvious passing downs. I said it off the top. I do think there's line value here with Clemson. I don't know if I can do it, though. Like I said, from a side perspective, I haven't read Clemson all that well this year. Maybe the better way to play this game, if you're into teasers, this is not too much of a high variance game. So maybe just tease Clemson down and expect them to find a way to win this game at home rather than have to worry about the number. Wouldn't hate a play on the under as well. I guess the only thing holding me off of that is if Clemson wins up front, do you think they can create some explosive plays through the air in this particular matchup? Not saying that's a huge staple of their offense, but there is a path to a pretty successful day for Clemson to maybe get 35, 38. I'm not saying it's likely, but there is enough of a possibility to where I wouldn't really want to be on the under in this one. It's Clemson or pass. I'm going to continue to look at this matchup as we go through the week, but as of now, I wouldn't expect this to be on my card. All right, guys, before we get out of here, I know you see this quarter zip right here. Head over to proud90.com for all your golf apparel needs. With the colder weather now here, they got a great selection of hoodies and quarter zips for you. If you've watched the channel, you've seen me rocking the polos here all throughout football season. Browse their selection. If you see anything you like at checkout, use code Fordham. It's going to get you 15% off your entire order. That's code Fordham at checkout. It's going to get you 15% off your order. Support me, support Proud90, proud90.com.